Welcome to your July 2023 tourism update. Hi, I'm Megan, a licensed New York City tour guide, and today we're going to talk about what you can expect if you travel to New York City in July in 2023. Before we get started, make sure that you click subscribe so you never miss a New York minute.
Yeah, muffin talk. Ooh, muffin talk. Muffin talks, bringing healing to those who need it most.
July is one of my absolute favorite times to be in New York City. I personally love the hot, sunshiny weather. I love that there's so much stuff to do outdoors. A lot of it's free. And of course, I love the 4th of July fireworks. So let's talk a bit about these 4th of July fireworks. So the 4th of July fireworks are held every year. They're put on by Macy's, the same people who do the Thanksgiving Day parade. Now, in order to watch these fireworks, you have a couple of options. This year, the fireworks will be on the East River. So Manhattan, it's an island, it's surrounded by water. The Hudson River is what separates Manhattan from New Jersey. If you are on the Hudson River, you're not going to see the Macy's fireworks. You want to be on the East River. The East River is what separates Manhattan from Brooklyn and Queens. So you're going to get great viewing in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. Now, the free recommended viewing areas include Gantry Plaza State Park, Transmitter Park, and Newtown Bridge Park. So those are going to be located in Queens and Brooklyn. And then if you're in Manhattan, the recommended viewing areas are on 20th Street, 34th Street, and 42nd Street, all on the east side of the island. Now, if you choose to watch the fireworks from one of these locations, just know that these fireworks are so popular that these viewing areas, they really do fill up. And as they fill up, the NYPD will close the area. It does not matter if the rest of your family got there at noon. If you are showing up right before the fireworks, you are not going to get in. So you really want to plan ahead if you are going to watch these fireworks in one of the free viewing areas. I recommend that you pack a picnic, you get your whole group together, you all arrive at the viewing area, and you just make a wonderful day of it. And then as it turns into evening, you make a wonderful evening of it, and then you'll get to watch a really wonderful fireworks show. This is definitely not something that you want to roll up at the last minute hoping to get a spot in one of these viewing areas. Macy's also has a list of areas where you really won't be able to see the fireworks. So for example, Brooklyn Bridge Park, you get a beautiful view of Manhattan skyline. You are not going to see the fireworks well from Brooklyn Bridge Park. You can go on to Macy's website. They do a really great job explaining where the fireworks are going to be held and where they recommend you view the fireworks from. If you don't feel like spending a whole day having a picnic in Manhattan, you have some other options. A lot of my friends are going to observation decks. So in New York City, we have a bunch of observation decks. We have Empire State Building, Top of the Rock, One World Observatory, Edge, and Summit. All of these observation decks have 4th of July events. You have to purchase those tickets in advance. They are going to be a bit more pricey than normal admission into these observation decks, but you will get a really great view and you won't have to camp out there all day getting your spot. Another recommendation is to do a 4th of July cruise. We have a bunch of different boat companies that offer 4th of July cruises. You can find one that really suits what you and your family or your friends are looking for 4th of July. So these boats will go out, they'll dock on the East River, and then you'll get this wonderful water view of these fireworks. My personal recommendation, my current favorite boat out on the seas are any of the city experience boats, and I really love their Bateau Premier Dinner Cruise. I did this, it's still one of my favorite things that I've ever done in the city, so if they still have tickets, that would be my recommendation. And then, of course, a lot of the restaurants and hotels along the East River, they will also be offering 4th of July events. Sometimes there will be a cover charge or it will be a ticketed event. So if you want to go to one of those, just make sure that it's actually going to get a view of the fireworks. Again, if you find a restaurant or a hotel in Brooklyn Bridge Park, for example, that might be a really fun time, but you might not get the best view of the Macy's 4th of July fireworks. I definitely think the fireworks are worth seeing. It's worth planning a day around. It's so much fun. And especially if you're visiting from someplace that's not in the United States, it's really fun to get swept up in this tradition of celebrating Independence Day with fireworks. The number one question that I get asked about on these videos is, what is the weather going to be like? And I'm not even going to try to predict the weather because I did this for June and I predicted that it would be really hot because we often have really hot Junes. And instead we had cold days, we had rainy days, we had a day when the sky turned orange because there was smoke from the Canadian wildfires. So I'm not sure that it's going to do me a ton of good to tell you what the weather is going to be like. But on average, the high is around 80 degrees in July and the low is around 69. It can get up into the 90s. It can even break 100 and it can get colder than 69. But that's the average between 69 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. We have continued to have some bad air quality. We've had some alerts. There's some bad air quality today. I don't think you can see it out of this window, but when you're walking around, there's a little bit of a haze. It's not really affecting that much in terms of things closing. Everybody's out, everyone's doing their normal New York City business, but do be aware that there might be some days when we have that smoke from the Canadian wildfires. Let's talk about fun, free summer events happening in July in New York City because there are a lot of them. So among these fun free events, you have Shakespeare in the Park that happens in Central Park. They are currently performing a production of Hamlet. You get these tickets, there's two ways to get the tickets. One of the ways to get the tickets is to wait in line outside the Delacorte Theater the day of the show. You have a lot of people who want these tickets, so the line can be rather long. I recommend that you get there very early before they start handing out tickets. Or you can download an app called 2-Day Ticks, and they do an online lottery. And if you win the online lottery, then you can also get free tickets to Hamlet in the park. Bryant Park, which is sort of known as the backyard of Times Square, they have free outdoor movies that you can watch every Monday. Again, very popular. You're going to want to claim your spot in Bryant Park early, otherwise you might not be able to get a spot on the lawn to watch the movie. We also have free concerts that happen in Bryant Park, free concerts that happen really all over the city in all 5 boroughs. So you can check out Carnegie Hall has an outdoor concert series, the New York Philharmonic, the Metropolitan Opera. They all go throughout the 5 boroughs and bring the art to the public for free, which is really, really wonderful. And Lincoln Center also has an outdoor summer stage. They have this giant disco ball. They have fun things happening every night through July. So you can check their website to see what's happening when you are visiting New York City. If you like being out on the water, Hudson River Park has some locations that offer free kayaking. So you can go kayaking on the Hudson River for free. We also have the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. They just unveiled their summer exhibit. It's called The Power of Trees. It's aimed to make us all think about the importance of trees in our lives. It's a really cool exhibit. I went to go see it. They also have site-specific art to go along with The Power of Trees. So Brooklyn Botanic Garden, absolutely fabulous. Stop on by and watch The Power of Trees. We also have these events called night markets, which are basically food fairs, street fairs. You can go to these night markets. There's some in Queens, there's some in the Bronx, and you can get some of the most delicious, most Instagrammable food in New York City. It is a foodie's paradise to go to these night markets. So if you like food, go to those night markets. I'm also a huge fan of Flipper's Roller Boogie Palace at Rockefeller Center. So this is a roller skating rink. You're literally roller skating in the middle of Rockefeller Plaza. You see 30 Rock. You can like wave to the people at top of the rock if you want. It's just really fun vibes at Flipper's Roller Boogie Palace. So I strongly recommend that. And then pickleball has really been sweeping the nation. It's definitely sweeping New York City at the moment. So we have a bunch of different pickleball courts going up if you enjoy playing pickleball. I'm going to be 100% honest with you and tell you that I was born in Florida. I was not born in New York City. And because I was born in Florida, I tend to not think of New York City as being a beach town. But the truth is we actually have a lot of beaches, and some of them are really good. We have Orchard Beach up in the Bronx. We have Far Rockaway Beach out in Queens. And then we have Coney Island Beach in Brooklyn. Now, if you are visiting New York City and you want an iconic New York City beach experience, I strongly recommend that you go to Coney Island. Now, Coney Island's beaches, they might not be like the most beautiful of all of New York City's beaches, but they are the most iconic of our beaches. So you have the beach, you then have a boardwalk, and as you walk along this boardwalk, there's a lot of really delicious food. This is also where Famous Nathan's Hot Dogs got its start. It's been there for over 100 years. It's where the annual hot dog eating competition takes place. And then right next to the boardwalk, there's an amusement park with a giant Ferris wheel. It's called Dino's Wonder Wheel. There's a wooden roller coaster called the Cyclone. If you like roller coasters, you will love it. There's a midway where you can play crazy games. There's entertainment. So it's really iconically New York, and you may even recognize it when you go. You might recognize the giant Wonder Wheel or the parachute drop or the roller coasters. Also out in Coney Island, you will find the New York Aquarium, which is really an impressive aquarium. So there's a bunch of different experiences that you can have out in Coney Island. Okay, so there's a lot of awesome things to do in New York City in July, but is there anything that you need to look out for? And there are a few things that you need to look out for, and a few of them are bug related. So we are currently having this weird infestation of aphids. I haven't encountered that many of them, but I keep reading about them in the newspaper. And the other thing that we have is we have this fly. It's called the spotted lanternfly. It's an invasive species, and when you see them, you just gotta kill them. And sometimes you'll see New Yorkers, they're literally getting out all of their inner rage, like stamping on these bugs. And you might be like, no, don't kill creatures. But apparently these are just really, really, really bad for the New York City environment. So activists say, if you see them, smash them. The other thing that you need to watch out for is fireworks. Now, we're not talking about the official Macy's 4th of July fireworks. For some reason in New York City, people just decide that they're going to celebrate the 4th of July all month long. And they somehow acquire these fireworks, and they acquire the fireworks, and they will set them off at all hours of the night, all month long. Especially if you're staying someplace that's not Midtown, you might just hear these fireworks at night. Maybe it won't happen this year, but it seems to be really, really popular for these fireworks to go off at all hours of the night. So maybe bring some earplugs, or maybe go outside and watch the fireworks because fireworks are pretty. And if you want to know scams to look out for, I have an entire video about New York City scams that you can check out. I'm going to link it. It will be either there or there. I don't know where it'll be, but you'll be able to go and check out that video to make sure that you are safe from scams. While July tends to be a very popular month to visit New York City, we often have decent sized crowds. I personally am fully booked for private tours in July, as are most of my colleagues who do private tours. They're just fully booked, especially around 4th of July. New York City is still a decent place for budget travelers in July. So for example, we have something called Restaurant Week. It's run by New York City Tourism and Conventions, the official tourism board of New York City. And Restaurant Week allows you to try out some of the best restaurants in New York City at a heavily discounted price. So I will put the link to that in the comments below. And then also, because we have all of those fun, free outdoor activities, you can come to New York City and really spend relatively little money. So I think it's actually great if you're coming to New York City on a budget to come in July. The thing to just watch out for if you are visiting New York City in July on a budget is because we do have decently sized crowds here in July, and they all want to do those fun, free activities. You do really want to plan ahead. You want to arrive at the free activities early to make sure that you get a spot, and you want to make sure that if it requires any sort of reservation, that you make that reservation well in advance. I hope that this video gave you an idea of what to expect if you visit New York City this July. Now, I have a whole bunch of videos. I think it's nearly 1,000 videos at this point about awesome things to do in New York City, travel tips and tricks. So please make sure that you click subscribe. It really helps me bring you more videos like this. And if you have any questions, feel free to write it in the comments below. And if you have any tips or tricks of your own, feel free to write that in the comments so that the whole community can benefit. So again, make sure that you click subscribe, and for more NYC, follow me.